What's up, everybody? My name's Max. I'm with Marquee Media Solutions. Today I'm going to start a new challenge. It's going to be called the 30 by 30. I'm going to build 30 websites in 30 days. I'm going to be converting PSD templates over to HTML and CSS code. I'm not going to be doing this by slicing and doing all that crap inside Photoshop. I'm going to be hand coding all of this over into just Notepad++. A few things that I'm not going to be doing with this. I'm not going to do navigation bars. I'm not going to do all the font prettiness and textures. I mean, I might do the sizing and whatnot. The main goal of this is just to get the framework of the website built out. You can always go back later and make it look pretty with nice color schemes and font settings and all that. This is just straight up HTML CSS framework from PSD Photoshop template over to Notepad++. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, the first one I'm going to be working on is this one right here. This is just some random template that I found online. So now what I like to do before I do these challenges is I go in and I kind of put these little boxes around everything that I'm pretty much going to need a div for. This will help me a lot in coding out the CSS, so I can go in and just write the CSS for this in just a few minutes, and then from there I can convert it over to HTML. So whenever I in Photoshop, whenever you select these, computer's lagging right now, but it tells you the pixels that are needed. So as you can see there in the teal, 1200 by 600, 1200 by 400, 225 by 304. That's telling me the size of the div and what I need to do for it. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started and show you what we have going on here. So the first thing we have is this is our index file here. This is our style CSS. So all I did was just get the initial tags ready. So you just have like your body, your header, and whatnot. I might be missing something, but I'll look at that here in a few. And I went ahead and just linked my style sheet over. So like I said, I like to start out with the style sheet first and just get all my divs going. So if we look back at the Photoshop, that was the wrong thing, sorry. If we look back at the Photoshop file, it looks like we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, around seven-ish divs. That's for the most part what I can see right now. There might be more that we need as we go along. So what I like to do is just come in here. So we'll go ahead and get this started. So I'm going to name this B, and it's going to be 1200 x 600. That's just the size. So then another one will be B, and then we'll do 1200 x 400. Then we'll do oops. Alright, what's another one we need? We need B 1200 x 575 B 290x 190. Also, while I'm doing this, I should mention I'm not going to do these responsive right now. Converting it over to being responsive is pretty easy. You set up a media query. Essentially from there you just kind of change everything to 100%. And most of the time that'll kind of work. So let's just see if we can get the framework of this laid out. So let's start out with this one. We're going to go with width, 100% height. This one's going to be 1200, right? Because this one is 1200 by 600. Actually, just a joke. This is 600. Alright, so next one, 1200 width, 100%. This one's going to be 400. Height 400 pixels. Matter of fact, what we'll do is just copy and paste this stuff over. Make it real simple here. Alright, so 400, 400, 304, 304, 190, and then 440. Alright, so that gets us, for the most part, we're going to be looking at. So, see if I can get some of these colors real quick from Photoshop. So this first one, we're going to have background color. So we'll do that for the top one. The next two look like they're a different reddish color. And I'm just pulling these hex colors out of from Photoshop, so. This way, whenever we're building it out, we can kind of see what we got going on. Actually, no, this one is white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1200 by 575. This one's red. This one will be a gray. So I kind of already know that one off the top of my head. We'll just make it a 333. And then same with your last one. Alright. So now we can go ahead and hop over to our HTML file. Start out with our body. So like we mentioned before, we have basically 7 divs. Now the first main 3 here, let's go look at that. So you have this one, you have that one, that's 1. Then you have 1200 by 400, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 main divs that'll make up the body here. So we can start out just by coding those in first, and we can just do all those at once. So we got div class equals, and we know this one is just going to be b 1200x600, and then what we're going to do, I just do this because I'm lazy, so I'm going to keep typing it all. Alright, so then your next one's going to be 1200 by 400. And I'm just referring back to the template here. This one's 1200 by 575. And your last one is 1200 by 440. Alright, so let's save this. File. Save. I've already saved it because I hit Control S. So Control S saves it. Now let's pull up this folder here. Alright. Go ahead and pull this up and see what it looks like. Alright. So this is the initial part of the website. It kind of should look relatively close to what you see here. You see? Here's what ours looks like. Now, let's go ahead and add in some of those inner divs that we had. So we'll hop back over to Notepad++. Okay, so for the most part, the header's good. We're going to start out with the 1200 by 400. So inside of the 1200 by 400 bucks, you have the 225 by 304, and there's 4 of these side by side. So we're going to hop over to this. We're going to go to our 1200 by 400. Inside here, we need 4 divs. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this together. So we got div. Your first one is going to be class equals. It's going to be b 225x304. close that off. So remember, inside of this, you must have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Control S. So and then we can pull this back up and see what it looks like. Alright, so that's what it looks like. As you can see right now, it's covering 100% of that. It's covering the whole entire thing. So something's not right here. So now we need to hop back over to our CSS. That's because the width on this we put as 100%, but that's actually not true. So we actually need this to be at like 25%. Let's see what that looks like. It's looking a little bit better. Let's change your margin to auto. Control S, save it. Okay, so now it's there. It's all in the center. Alright, so now let's hop back over to our style. So one thing we need to change this is to display. We'll change that to display flex. And then in its parent theme, we change this to position relative. Alright, so now we have all 4 of our divs here, but they're not actually they need to be horizontal. Right now, as you can see, they're showing up vertically. So also this width still looks a little off. Let's do width 20. Looks a little bit better, yeah. Change this one to display flex. Take that off. Save it. Boom. Alright, so that looks a little bit different than what they have in here. As you see, ours looks like, that's what theirs looks like, and this is what ours looks like. Really, what is off here is this width. Okay, so we know that the width is supposed to be 225. So one thing we can do, it's not going to make it responsive, it'll make it pixel perfect. Let's come here and change this width to 225 pixels. Let's take a gander at that. Alright. You see now it should look almost identical to this. There's actually one thing that's still off. So the box ahead of this is not actually 100% width. This will be around 75%. So, as you can see, now it looks very similar. The problem is that one is, this one's misaligned. It's aligned to the left. Now we can align this to the center. But there's one problem that's going to occur if we do that. So just to kind of show you, you do margin. Anytime you want to center a div, you just do margin auto, and that'll give you all the stuff that you need. So now it's going to be in the center, and it looks right. The problem is the background is white. So I could change the body background to red to match this, just to kind of show you. So if you go up here, body, background, if we changed it to match that color, it'll go away. You can see that there's one way to do it, but the problem is that's going to change the whole body background to red, and that's not exactly what we want, because there might be another spot in the website that we just basically need the background not to be red. So we're not going to do that. What we'll have to actually do is bring out another div here. Actually, I don't even need to make another one. I just need to put it inside of another one. So we do 12 by 600, then 12 by 600. We got 12 by 400, and 12 by 3. So this is your 12 by 4. Alright, so let's look back at the template. Sorry, I'm getting a little mixed up here. So we got the 12 by 6 at the top, the 12 by 4. Okay, so the 12 by 4 is actually, yeah, I had that backwards, so sorry. So the 12 by 4 needs to go here. And we see we need to put another div right below that. And we're actually going to have to change this to 12 by 400, and then we'll do width. Just something. It's 12 by 400. Here, now, and then we'll add width to match up with the other thing, and we'll change this to 100%. So what that's doing is we're putting this, so this is going to span 100%, and then we're putting that div, we're putting this div inside of that one, so this one's going to be 75% the size of this one, and then inside of that, inside of the 12 by 400, you're going to have this one here, and that way you don't have to worry about that background color. So let's save this, let's go back over to our website, let's refresh. As you see, now you got the red all the way across, you have your boxes here, it should look almost identical to what we have going on here. Now we have to do this part. So there's two different ways we can do this bottom part. We could break this into two different divs, right? Like you could have a div here and code it the same way we just did at the top, and then do another one here. That might be the easiest way, and just lay it on top of each other. So that's one thing that we'll look at. So let's just start out by getting our first, let's just start out by getting 3 of these in here, and then going from there. So we need the 290 by 190 X's, and really you can do those the same way that you did your 225 by 304. So let's actually clean up this code a little bit. So we'll tab that out, and then this. This will help give us a little bit more structure, and we can easily see what's going on just by looking at it. Sometimes you can get carried away when you're just flying through it. Okay, so the reason I structured this code like this is because this is your main parent div. Then you have one of the childs inside here, and then have these inside of this one. So every time you have some divs inside of another one, you want to space them out this way so you can easily see. And then also, if you click this minus button here, it collapses them all, although I don't like doing that. It starts to confuse me for some reason. So now we're going to move down to the 1200 by 575. That's this one right here. So inside of our 12 by 575s, we know we have our 290 by 190 X's. So we're going to start off div class equals, and it's the 290, so B 290 X 190. Alright, so we're going to have 3 of these. Let's go ahead and space that out a little bit. Now similar to the other one, we'll have to do with this one as well. So let's go to the 290 by 190. That's these here. So these actually need to be changed to around. So these look a little bit wider, so I could change the pixels. Actually, we'll just do that. So we'll make these 190 pixels wide, just so we're doing exactly pixel perfect. Generally, you want to work out a, 290. Generally, you want to work out the percentage of it, but just for time's sake, we're going to do that. And then also, inside of the 1200 by 575, you want to change your display to flex. So if we don't do that, let's save it and actually just see what it looks like right now. You see, you just have this over here. They're just all kind of stacked vertically. In order to get them side by side, how these are over here, you have to do display flex. And you have to display flex the div that the parentive of the ones that you're trying to get this to appear horizontal. So display flex. So now you can see they're kind of horizontal. Something else isn't right though. So let's go ahead and change our margins here. Change your margins on your 290, so on these, I want these to be auto. As you can see, it's looking a little bit more similar now. And then you have to also change your width. So we're going to run into the same problem that we ran with the other one. So this is going to be, we'll do 75%, refresh. So go back, remember we got to change this to margin auto, that'll center this one. So now we're centered. But as you can tell, you still got those backgrounds that you have over there. So once again, to fix that, we have to create another 1200 by 500, and we'll just name this one width and change it to 100%. Go ahead and add another div to this. Alright, let's go back and look at it. Boom. Okay. So it's starting to take shape a little bit. So one thing we need to do though is we need to divide this in half. Now, if we do this, if you put all 6 of these into one div, you see it kind of puts them all together like that. So we need to find a way to get these on 2 different lines. So there might be an easier way to do this, but the best way that I know how is we'll just break this into 2 separate divs. So what we'll ultimately have to end up doing, copy and paste this, put it down here, open up the calculator, take 575 divided by 2, this is 28.75. We're going to change this to 28.75 height, or 287.5, yeah, 287.5. So then change your height over here to 287.5. Alright, so refresh, boom. So now it looks like that. We're still not 100% accurate though, because you see these line up over here, but this doesn't line up over here. It's off a little bit. So we need to find a way to get these to align the same way these, or to get all of these to line up the same way. So let's see how we can do that. So we're splitting up these all equally, and it's because these 3. So you probably have to do some sort of math. So let's look at this. 75%. Dividing 75% up by 4. The width. Let's change this one to 80%. There we go. Looks a little bit better. Yep, and then you just have your bottom page. So you can see we already have like the main framework of this, worked out. Now, okay, so once I took a step back and looked at it, slowed down for a minute, I realized, as you guys probably did, it really wasn't even close. The width was far too off on the center divs. So I went in and changed them from 80 and I believe 75%. I changed them both to 60%. Once you do that, it looks far better and resembles it much more. So that's kind of to give you an idea of what it looks like there. Enough, we'll wrap it up. And some of these I might go into more detail. I'll be honest with you though, this template's it's really bad. It's really ugly too. I don't know who put these colors together, but the colors are horrible. Thank you guys for watching. Let's check back in tomorrow. We'll go through another template. Some of them will go in a little bit more depth. I'll be honest, if it's a really nice template, I might go into it more and actually build it out completely to make it look really nice and pretty. Some of those I will save for future web design projects. I seriously doubt I'll ever use this one, so I just wanted to get the gist of it and the framework together. If you guys have any questions at all, comment down below. If you want to learn how to turn this into a responsive website, because if you see right now, it's not responsive. It doesn't look right at all. I can kind of show you how to do that. It's real simple. It'll only take a few minutes. Don't forget to comment, like the video if you liked it, subscribe. There's going to be 30 days of this, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.